to work for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years and hoping for the retirement package and you can't even enjoy it. Exactly. This is why this podcast is really, really at the center of my core because I live in London and I see Africans and diasporans, so Caribbeans from all over the world on the train, on the public station, going about their work 9 to 5. Our fathers, our grandfathers, uncles and aunties, they've been doing nursing, they've been doing all type of jobs for a very long time now. But we've come of a new age whereby the skills that we've learned, we can actually leverage them.
Hello.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another wonderful episode of the Diaspora Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today, we'll be having a really strong man in the house who is a very resilient guy. Listen, we have an inspirational speaker, a trainer, and an author, resilience and well-being strategist, the founder and CEO of Michael K. Jackson International. This guy is on a mission to inspire, empower, and equip purpose-driven leaders around the world to bounce back from setbacks and build back stronger from adversity. You know, with just this current time that we are right now, this is the guy you should speak to if you're faced with any challenges, you should speak to this man. See, ladies and gentlemen, let me not waste your time. We have Michael K. Jackson. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Victor. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good. I'm happy that you're on. I'm happy that you're with us today.
Hey, I'm happy too, man. Like I told you, before, I've been listening to the show a long time now, and just appreciate the opportunity to come on and share some information and inspiration with your guests. Man.
Yeah, that is great because we need this at this particular time. We need this at this right. This is the right time for you to be on the show.
Yes, sir.
So, how is it going? How's the family today?
Family's good, man. Everybody for the past few months now, as you know, has been adjusting and adapting to, life in the midst of COVID-19. As I'm sure you guys are over there in the UK, we over here have been slowly opening things, but, COVID is still in the air. So, we have to still be cautious and not only, protect our minds, but protect our families as well. So,
You mentioned over there, I'm in London, England now. Where are you?
I am in Maryland on the East Coast of the United States. But I'm proud to say that I'm a Caribbean American. I was born in an Eastern Caribbean island called Antigua and raised in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. So just love being with you, brother, and all the work that you're doing amongst, the African and Caribbean community, man.
Yeah, this is great because this is our show, the Diaspora Entrepreneurs. So this is our show, and I'm very grateful that you're here. This show is made for us. Yes, to inspire Africans and Caribbeans that are in the diaspora. And you are a huge inspiration. So, Michael, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, as I just mentioned, Victor, I'm born and raised in the Caribbean. And I have, a varied background. So I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran. I'm my biggest and probably most important role is as a husband and a father to my 4 daughters. Yes, not 1, 2, 3, but 4 girls that I'm have the privilege and honor of.
You'll be busy.
Yes. So, pray for me, brother. Yes, first and foremost, role as husband and father is primary. And then, I'm also, like you mentioned at the top, an inspirational speaker, and some things in life that I'm sure, get into have transpired in my life to kind of bring me to that point. But, proud Caribbean American, and, just here to really inspire and empower and equip folks, like you said.
Yeah, your life has been okay. Just before we go further, I have 2 daughters and a guy.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got 3 kids as well. So with the
Yep.
missus,
Yep.
you know, and they are a handful, anyways. Yeah,
Trust me, I know, brother.
homeschooling should be a beast for you right now.
A beast, man. A beast. You know, I'll credit, or most credit, go to my wife. I can't take credit for that. You know, you know, play a support role, but when it comes to you know, homeschooling piece, and we both you know, work full time. I have this speaking business, and I work full time as well, and she worked full time. But you know, they're a handful in doing this whole homeschooling thing, which is a brave new world for everyone. But you know, I in that respect, I help support, you know, but I give her all the credit for that, brother.
Oh, this is great. This is great. See, we've been talking about losses and setbacks. What led to this journey for you?
Yeah, so it's been an interesting journey, Victor. So, you know, what led me to the point I am now, here now, is really and truly, you know, almost at 2, but almost 3 years ago now, and back in 2017, if you might remember, you know, it was a really bad hurricane season in 2017. You deal with a lot of Caribbean folks, so you know, some of the folks you might know might have been affected, but it was a bad hurricane season in 2017, and 2 major hurricanes, 2 Category 5 hurricanes swept across the Caribbean, and both actually hit St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, where I grew up, in a 2-week span. And in that second hurricane, Hurricane Maria, it's when unfortunately I got the news that my father was killed during the hurricane. And it was during the grieving process through that, you know, through that tragedy, where I started really reflecting back on all the adversity, all the stuff, the mess that I had gone through up until that point, and you know, was able to develop what I call my plan resilience building blueprint. That really, when I reflected back on my life during that time, there were some things, strategies, tactics, techniques that I've always used to overcome the various adversities and stresses in my life up until that point. And I've been through quite a few, and we can talk about that. But the turning point was losing my dad during that hurricane, and really reflecting back on you know, the tragedies, the drama, the experiences I've had, and how I was able to overcome that. And I felt that it was incumbent upon me not only to, you know, to honor my father's, the memory of my father, but also honor my heavenly Father as well, and having to really do something about helping people overcome, you know, you know, whatever they're going through. And that's really what brought me. Long answer to a short question, but that really was my tipping point, if you will.
Yeah, that's great, because it leads us towards the success part or significance part. I understand you have this dichotomy between being successful and significance. What does significance means to you, and success?
Yeah, so glad you asked that. So for me, I have a different, you know, a different definition of success, because for me, in my younger life, I was in the pursuit of really, you know, what's commonly seen or viewed as success, the trappings of success, you know, the good job, or the, you know, the high paying job, you know, the big house, you know, and so forth. And certainly in an earlier period of my life, I was after that. But after growing and developing, you know, my outlook, it's really more so about the pursuit of significance rather than success. And for me, significance is, to me, my definition of success is really doing what God put you here on earth to do, accomplishing accomplishing your divine purpose. It's really my definition of success, which is equivalent to the pursuit of significance, because it's really beyond what you can accomplish for yourself, but it's really about how can I use my life, my skills, my talents, why I was put here, to make life better for somebody else, so to make an impact. I'm really driven by, particularly after the passing of my father, I'm really driven by, making an impact, because from that experience and other experiences I've had in my life, including, a mother with Alzheimer's, a mom who retired after 30 years of work and, looking forward to, enjoying retirement, to be diagnosed with Alzheimer's and not being able to enjoy that retirement at all, to my dad, losing my dad in an instant in a hurricane. Life is not promised to us, Victor. We say, tomorrow's not promised. No, brother, that the next second is not promised. Every breath we take is a gift. So that's why I'm in pursuit of significance and not necessarily the traditional, trappings of success. Now, not to say that, having money and wealth and so forth is a bad thing. No, I'm not saying that at all. It's they're actually a good thing, because if you're poor, you can't really help nobody else, right? So
exactly.
So I want wealth for myself. I want wealth for my family and generations to come. So not bashing wealth at all. It's a matter of your mindset, though. It's a matter of what you're pursuing and why.
I think, like, from what I can understand is that, because I'm learning as well. Mm-hmm. So the pursuit of significance, success is like a byproduct of that. So am I correct?
Absolutely. Yes, success is it's the byproduct. It's not the pursuit in and of itself. It's the byproduct.
Yeah, but you spoke about what God puts us here to do. How do we kind of like find out? How do we know what God puts us here to do?
Man, Victor, that's the age-old question, brother. I believe, because for a long time in my life, I was trying to quote unquote find my purpose. And what I've discovered is that your purpose is already in you, right? I believe, this is my belief, that we were all placed here for, a particular purpose. God has a plan and a purpose for everybody. That's my belief. For me, for you, for all of our viewers and listeners out there. And I believe that it's really about becoming more self-aware of what your natural gifts and talents are, because your purpose is not going to be anything foreign to you, right? It's going to be something that you feel passionate about, that you can derive benefit from, to impact others. And oftentimes that's, it doesn't, some people, like, for example, Venus and Serena, kind of from a young age, and tennis, with a purpose, and, it's figures like Tiger Woods and all of that. But for some of us, it's a more iterative process. So for me, I had to go through, many different things, different careers and so forth, to really discover, if you will, to use a word, what my purpose is. But when you reflect back, though, Victor, it's really there's always like a common denominator or lining, if you will, to kind of show you, well, oh, this has been in me all along, So yeah, I could go into it more, but I'll leave it there for now.
Yeah, I really follow that, and my condolence, because losing a dad, I lost mine a long time ago. So that was way back in 1999. Yeah.
So you have an idea of how.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, because I thought my dad was a Superman, that he can. He can
Indeed.
he can do anything. He can withstand anything. So, but
Same here, man. Same
yeah,
here, you know. And my dad was, traditional Caribbean, father, and he was, the strong, the epitome of the strong silent type,
yeah,
hardworking, very, very value driven in terms of a strong sense of integrity, and just a stand up guy, as we would say here in the U.S.
yeah.
For him to have been taken like that is it's a blow.
Yeah. So when I was saying this is why um this is almost like the mission of this podcast on diasporans, because if we take an example from your mom's situation, you find out that most of us right now we won't even learn from that. From what I take from that, it reinforces my conviction saying that we are here and now, so we should be able to like live the best life that we can live right now, make the best impact that we can right now.
Right now.
Because tomorrow, like you said, you're very right, it's not promised to anyone. Again, you work for 30 years, at the end of the day, you can't even enjoy your retirement. So why not? I want to see if I can stop working in a couple of years. Not in a couple of years, within 2-3 years time, I want to stop working. I will still be active doing what I'm doing, but it's not going to be work to me anymore.
Yeah.
I'll just be doing my thing because I know this is my passion. This is how I'm fulfilling myself, and then chasing significance as well. And not be bothered about work. I can do this. I can do podcasting. I can talk to inspirational people like yourself all day without feeling any stress or without feeling down. But to work for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years and hoping for the retirement package, and you can't even enjoy it. Exactly. This is why this podcast is really, really at the center of my core, because I live in London and I see Africans and diasporans, so Caribbeans from all over the world on the train, on the public station, going about their work 9 to 5. Our fathers, our grandfathers, uncles and aunties, they've been doing nursing, they've been doing all type of jobs for a very long time now. But we've come of a new age whereby the skills that we've learned, we can actually leverage them using the medium that is being presented through, which is you are in the US, I'm in the UK. And this internet has given us so much playing field. So
possibilities are infinite.
Yeah, the possibilities are there. So, and you sharing your story and your strategies on how you got back from setback, and how you now you're teaching other people how to like do the same. In the old days, it's not possible, but now it is possible. And you've got an amazing plan. What is this your plan all about? PLAN.
PLAN, yeah. So like I mentioned before, going through my grieving process with my dad, and and reflecting back on, that caused me to reflect back on, all that had gone through up until that point. And it came to me that, I deal with stresses in life and adversities in a particular way. So then it came to me. I put together this blueprint, I call it, called PLAN. So P is for practice, prayer, and meditation. And I mentioned that I growing up, I come from a background, a strong faith-based background where regularly, we prayed. My mother would circle us up in the morning before we went to school, giving us breakfast, and we would circle up and pray and meditate, actually. So that was always a part of me, and I kind of brought that through my adult life as well. So practice prayer and meditation is really the first step in my plan resilience building blueprint. And then step number 2 would be the L, which is to lean in and listen. And that really comprises of, I say, when you're hit by adversity, you got to lean into it. Oftentimes we're caught off guard, like your dad being in a hurricane. You're caught off guard by losses and so forth, and that kind of puts us back on our heels. But one of our, I like to use this analogy because and I can say this now that I'm in my mid to late 40s, that I was never like a super big team sports guy. So I always focused on stuff like working out in the gym, and also my other passion is Japanese jiu-jitsu. So in jiu-jitsu, when you're being confronted or attacked, you actually move into the attack. It's kind of counterintuitive, because you want to kind of step back and defend, but you actually lean in to the adversity, if you will. So in my L in plan, it's really the part of it is leaning into the adversity. And the way that looks like, it's really, I say, embrace adversity as your advisor, not your adversary. Befriend adversity, lean into it, right? The other part of that is the listening piece. You got to listen for the lesson in there, because there's always a lesson in adversity, right? And I say, because I'm a man of faith, I say part of it is listening to the voice of God. The other part is listening to your own, your spirit, what's your heart telling you. And the other piece is listen to people around you that have your best interests at heart, that have your back and that are in your corner. Community is so important when we are going through stuff. I know the natural tendency is to kind of just go in a shell, and you want to retreat, right? Trust me, I know that firsthand. Earlier in my career, I went through two different layoffs that ended up having me, and we can talk about this later, but it ended up having me, eventually had to, file for bankruptcy. I went through a divorce. I gained and lost everything. And during those times, the tendency when we're going through is to kind of just shut the door, shut the blinds, and and retreat. But community, man, we're all a part of a community. Lean in and lean on the people in your corner too, because people come out and really help you. So that's the L. The A, and this one is key, is act accordingly. As I mentioned, a few times, I'm a man of faith, right? But faith without works is dead, right?
Absolutely.
Faith without works is dead, brother. It's you have to meet your faith with action. So I say the A is for act accordingly. And to give an example, the way I acted accordingly after the passing of my dad was to really, I struggled to figure out, I want to do something. And that's something, that action was, I led a hurricane relief and recovery effort through my church that saw, dozens upon dozens of volunteers from my church here in Maryland go down to the Virgin Islands to really help rebuild the islands. And that was my action. I was meeting my faith with action. Early on in my career, and I tell you, I went through this process of really reflecting back on all my struggles. Early on in my career, when I got laid off twice, part of my action was, filling out literally hundreds of job applications, and to no avail. So what I did back then was I created my own job. I've always been passionate about, health and fitness. So I started my own fitness business, health and fitness franchise. And that was the way I met my faith with action at that point in time. So that's the A. And then lastly is N. N for notate your mind state, as I say, which really means journaling. Numerous studies show, Victor, that, journaling has a number of different benefits, chief of which is a stress reduction tool. It really allows you to reduce the stress that you're feeling when you actually start either physically writing in a journal, or, nowadays we have apps for that. We got apps for everything nowadays, and there are several apps that you can use to really, as I say, notate your mind state. And it has, besides, the stress reduction, it really has another benefit in that, because I started journaling back during the time in my early 30s when, I went through that whole job layoff ordeal and bankruptcy and divorce and so forth. And it really allows you to, one, reflect back on, because reviewing your journal entries, it allows you to reflect back on all that you've been through in the past. And it shows you that this thing ain't gonna kill you. It'll if you approach it right, it will make you stronger. It will enable you to bounce back from setbacks and build back stronger, like I say. So it's a cathartic process, actually, writing in a journal too. So numerous benefits about journaling. So in some, the plan resilience building blueprint is really about P, practice prayer meditation, L for lean in and listen, A for act accordingly, and N, notate your mind state. And that's really the strategy I've used all along. That I discovered it during, the grieving process with my dad, but it's something I've actually done throughout my adult life, to be honest with you. And that's what I'm so passionate about, Victor, about sharing this message and sharing this plan with others that they can implement in their life to do what I say. I say to enable them to overcome their own. Not everybody can identify with losing a loved one in a Category 5 hurricane, but you can use this plan to overcome your emotional Category 5 hurricanes. Kind of like what we're dealing with now with the COVID situation and other situations that are going on around the world now.
That must have been, I must really commend you for what you did for the Caribbean islands, because losing your dad and still going back and to build.
Yes.
Man,
yes.
That must have been, it takes a bigger person to do that.
And I'm gonna be candid, Victor. That's not something that, you have folks that, and I admire them, folks that, just, dedicate their life to volunteering and, getting involved in different relief efforts around the world and so forth. That wasn't me up until that point. You would view things like, for example, Hurricane Katrina here in the U.S. a long time ago, or, the tsunami in Asia, or, Haiti earthquake and so forth. And you watch these things in the news and you would sympathize with the people, but there'd be a certain disconnection from that. But once it hit home for me, I was like, I got to do something. I got to do something, right? It was a sense of duty, not only to my dad, but really to, the place that grew up, where I grew up and made me who I am. So I had to do something. And it's just so happened that my church had announced that they were beginning a hurricane relief effort for Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico had gotten hit right after the Virgin Islands by the same Hurricane Maria. And I said, well, whoa, I didn't hear anything about the Virgin Islands. So I raised my hand and I said, I said to myself, I'm going to be a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. So I said, let me, I'm happy to help out. Let me do something. And we developed this whole hurricane relief effort where we went down and actually helped, rebuild the islands. And that's how it was during that process too, that plan came to me, like, because I say that, I'm on a mission to help leaders around the world, bounce back from setbacks and build back stronger. Well, that phrase, build back stronger, became prominent after the hurricanes hit. And it really was talking about building back stronger infrastructure, physical infrastructure to withstand Category 5 storms in the future. But now my twist is, you know, I'm helping people build back stronger to withstand emotional hurricanes, i.e., you know, like I mentioned earlier, we all been dealing with COVID for the past few months now.
Yeah.
Emotional Category 5 hurricane if I ever saw one. So yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's not like it's not a main fit, because I've not been challenged like that before. We all have got different challenges, but it seems like you are a man of many lives, if I may use that word. And
Tell me about it.
yeah, and you've been coming back stronger, like creating your own opportunity. What was your mindset creating your own opportunity? Because you feel that forms. Because I tell you, Michael, so many of us in the diaspora, we just like, if it's not a job, then it's nothing. I appreciate the bills, but you can as well create something for yourself. What was your mindset doing that?
Yeah, so you know, and you know, candidly, I'm still working a 9 to 5, so I put that out there in candor. But you know, focusing on building this speaking business is important to me because you know, I reflected back on what happened when I got laid off almost 20 years now, you know, from my corporate job, and couldn't find, you know, and let me back up and say in my early 20s, I was all about a job. Honestly, I was all about getting a good job, making money, you know, buying a big house, and I had set a couple of goals in my early 20s about. I had set really 3 goals. I set a goal to buy my first house by the time I was 30, to get my MBA by the time I'm 30, and then make 6 figures by the time I was 30 as well. And I did all those 3 things, and then as fate would have it, Victor, that's when things fell apart, brother. But you know, from that experience, from being able to actually just make my own opportunity back then, it's always been in my back. Entrepreneurship has always been in not only in the back of my mind, but really the forefront of my mind. Although it's taken a kind of a circuitous route throughout my life, if you will. But you know, throughout my life, I work in my current job. I work with entrepreneurs, business owners, to help them build their businesses. So I know the importance and the and how critical it is for particularly for our folks. You know, in the diaspora community around the world, to build wealth through ownership, right? Through ownership, owning your own stuff. Because traditionally, you know, as you kind of indicated earlier, you know, we're kind of taught to, you know, go to school, graduate, get your education, get a good job, right? And you know, you see that play out. Get your education, get a good job, you know, work yourself to the bone, especially our folks, right? You know, folks, African folks, you know, folks from the Caribbean diaspora, folks in the Caribbean. That's our mentality. You know, you work hard, right? You work hard, and then enjoy your retirement. But what life has shown me, and has shown you as well, and I'm sure many of the viewers, is that, like we said at the top, nothing is promised, man. The next second is not promised to you. So we have to make an impact now. The greatest impact you can make is through, you know, ownership, business ownership. And particularly if you marry, you're not just doing it for money, but you're marrying purpose with your passion, right? You can accomplish great things. So I know I've said a mouthful, but
yeah, absolutely. No, that's what I really like, because you know, you set your goals, you hit it by 30, and that's what I try to like learn from discussing with people like yourself, Michael. You see, when you hit your goal at 30, after that, beyond that, there's nothing beyond that. So I think that is what you're kind of saying, that don't just chase the success, but the significance. Because significance goes beyond being hitting your goals at 30, reaching those milestones at 30.
Absolutely. And you know, and I had to, you know, kind of learn the hard way, because, you know, I'm not, one of those Christians that believe that every negative thing that happens is, a punishment from God, or, you know what I mean? But there are lessons in everything. That's why we have to lean in and listen, right?
Absolutely.
One of the lessons I learned through that early experience in my life was the fact that, well, the number one experience was, it's not about me. It's not for me. I was all about, because I was raised to my mother would always say, knowledge is power, right? Particularly for our people, knowledge is power. Education. She was an educator, so she came from that, point of view as well. As far as knowledge is power, get your education. Education is wonderful, but when you, because I rested a lot of my identity on, I accomplished this, and I got this education and intelligence and all of that, but none of that helped me when things crashed, So, and this is getting into the faith piece. It's really about it's not about you. It's really about what God can do through you, honestly. And at this point in my life, it's really about allowing God to use me to impact the world, honestly.
Wow, Michael, you let me use the word, you're a man with more than 9 lives, because and these are like everyday stories from people of the diaspora community. We go through all these, and without sharing the story. So now you're teaching folks how to bounce back through resilience. This is amazing.
Yeah. And it's not just bouncing. Victor, can I say this too? Because it's not just bouncing back. It's not just bouncing back to your original state either. It's about that building back stronger piece, because this is really about not just getting back to how you were, but really being back stronger. You know what I mean? To be able to equip you to handle because stuff can come. Life is really about, challenges and overcoming challenges, right? So this is last. This is not the first, and it won't be the last. The stuff that we're dealing with. So it's really about building back stronger.
Wow.
But I cut you off, brother. Go ahead.
No, that's all right. Sometimes I want the conversation to be more fluid. So
yes,
if you have something that it is really, really, you just flow, I don't mind. Mine is to make this conversation something that I would want to listen to again and again and again. So I really, really appreciate that. So building back stronger, it is really, really, it is immense. So now you're teaching this. How can people reach out to you?
So the best way to get a hold of me is you can reach me via email, Michael at michaelkjackson.com is the email, MICHAEL at michaelkjackson.com. And then you can reach me via my website at michaelkjackson.com. And then from there, you can kind of get to my social media handles. So I'm MK Jackson INTL on Facebook and Instagram. LinkedIn, you can find me under Michael K. Jackson. But the easiest way to do it is to just go to my website, scroll all the way to the bottom. I have icons, so whatever your favorite social media platform is, I'm there. I'm most active on LinkedIn, but I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. I have a Twitter account, but really and truly, I don't use it that much. I really just kind of pin whatever I put on for example, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. So it's really LinkedIn is my main channel. But michaelkjackson.com is a website, and Michael at michaelkjackson.com is the email.
That's great. Well, Michael, I see. Pardon me, I said people at first, but who exactly do you want to reach out to you?
So folks that are organizing conferences, and these days because of COVID, it's a lot of virtual conferences and so forth. So meeting planners, meeting organizers that are seeking somebody like me with a message to really impact people. If you're looking for a dynamic speaker that could come on and really impact the folks, particularly in these stressful times, I'm your guy. Reach out to me. Again, best way is a website, michaelkjackson.com. And then just a quick plug too, Victor. Last year I was co-author on a book called Speaking My Truth, and it was a book. It was an anthology. If folks want to kind of get a better sense of the plan framework, I have the plan framework in that book. But stay tuned, because I plan on releasing my own book that's going to really expound on plan and talk more deeply about the story, some of the stories I shared today in my full book called Building Back Stronger, which is due out later this year. So be on the lookout for that.
Oh, and I hope we will not be we'll be the first ones to like break this out when it's lunchtime.
Absolutely, you got it, Victor. You got it.
Looking forward to that. Save my spot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Save my spot. Yeah. So Michael, it has been a real privilege speaking to you, and I am really, really grateful for this opportunity to like hear your story and for you to come and share it on this platform. Listen, guys.
Victor, I just want to say one thing. I want to thank you personally, brother. You've been an inspiration to me. Your show has been an inspiration. Some of the guests that you've had on, I feel privileged to be among them, because you've had some really great guests on that have impacted me personally. And, I'm just, again, happy that you agreed to have me on. And I just want to thank the folks that are listening as well to, thank you for hanging with me and Victor.
Oh. Listen, guys, I can't say anything further than that. Who's going to beat that? Yeah. So, well, thank you too for spending your time with me and with the guys that are listening, the girls that are listening. Guys, everybody's a guy anyway. So thank you guys for listening as well. Yeah, you can get in touch with Michael K. Jackson on the preferred platform that he has mentioned. And listen, there's no shame in going through adversities alone. Community is a source of inspiration. So even if you have one person to speak to on that time when you have this negative self-talk, just call someone. Michael has put himself out there to like help. So you can reach out to him. That is what this podcast is all about, building communities from across the globe. We are diasporans, so we cannot just like be on our own islands and should be shutting our own blinds or be boxing ourselves in. We can actually come out from whatever state that we are and reach out to people like Michael who have the expertise and who have gone through various challenges that have been able to get strategies that actually works. So get in touch with Michael, and don't forget to like review, subscribe, and just share this message. But if you know that this show has been great to you and you want to continue the conversation with Michael or myself, go ahead, reach out to any one of us, and we'll be grateful that you did. Anyways, Michael, that has been a mouthful as well. Yeah. So I am really, really grateful. Maybe I'm saying that over and over again. But
say one last thing, Victor. I know you already wrapped up and you'll be able to edit this or whatever.
Go ahead.
In order, but I meant to say this and I didn't say this, that, hey, it's one of my dreams is to come back to the UK and actually speak to audiences over in the UK, brother. So keep that in mind. One thing I didn't mention was the night before I got the call, the date that I got the call from my dad, the very next day I was supposed to fly to England, actually on a mission through my church, right? To come over to England to do some missionary work. Now, you know that, you guys over in England, well, not you guys, but, the original English, right? Sent missionaries out, all over the globe. So I look forward to coming back to this place that sent these missionaries out to come now, do some work right there on that big island of yours. But it never happened because I got that call. I forgot to mention that. So I look forward to coming to the UK, brother, and spending time with you all and spending time with you personally, man. So just keep that in mind too, okay?
No worries. Post-COVID, there's so many things going on that we need all hands should be on deck to like raise us up and ignite our passion, ignite our imagination, and we should be ready for more action.
Yes, sir.
Post-COVID. So thank you very much for being part of the show. We really appreciate you here. Listen, we all have ideas and visions of how we see our lives, our enterprise. But without strategic moves, it will remain a pipe dream. As an accountability coach and your success partner, I help and support my clients to build their dream business or their dream lifestyle and make it a reality. So talk to me today, no matter how crazy your business vision is or how crazy your ideas are. We can build structure to make it a reality. So send me an email or click the link below to talk about your ideas now. It is your dream. It came to you for a reason. So be responsible because the world is waiting for you to act. Thank you. Until next time, this is Victor Osio. Be great.